5 or 6 or less. We get our views after the fact. Tomorrow, the next day, this will be out there on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook and YouTube.
There you go. It's all good.
There we are. This, what am I looking at? Over here. It followed me over.
Yeah, now it's stuck.
You are easy.
Well, we're looking at the radio station and Jeff Vick. If I can get this one unstuck.
Oh.
There we go. Over here. I'm over here. It's got artificial intelligence.
More artificial than intelligence.
A lot of the time, yeah. It does some strange things. Okay. Are you bored yet? Okay, we have Jeff Vick of Lily's House, among other things, with us tonight.
Yes, sir.
I remember when you were starting up with Lily's House. We did a charity ride for you.
You sure did. That was a great day.
Made you a couple of bucks.
Oh yeah, I was blown away.
But then I went to Arizona. So
Yeah.
So I have not kept up. So let's start off with what is Lily's House, how you got the crazy idea. I'm sure there's times you thought it was absolutely insane,
Yes, sir.
and how it's going and what's your future.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to just kind of start back and kind of paint the picture and so
Just take us from the beginning up to now.
yeah. So Sarah and I moved back. This is her hometown. She's a Brewster, and so I was working for AT&T at the time and had a job transfer, and that gave us the opportunity to move back to this. We lived in Springfield, moved back up this direction, and so we took the opportunity to move back to Adrian. Bought that old house over there on First and Kentucky, started renovating it, and at that time, our youngest, our fifth, was in high school, and so Sarah had always had a heartbeat toward babies, and we started talking about becoming foster parents, and so started down that journey. And little did we know that journey of being a foster parent would lead us down the road to opening up Lily's House. So through the experiences that we had, we always requested having babies, smaller kids. We never wanted to adopt, but what we wanted to do, Dale, is we wanted to just kind of show the parents in the system, that there was hope, and that we weren't there to take their babies away. We were there to just love on them and keep them safe, and we just wanted to treat them to the best of our ability, like they were our kids as well. So we would, invite them over Sunday and grill and watch football, or, go swimming in the pool or whatever, let them have some extra time with their kids, and just show them, what just normal life can be like.
Sometimes that's a rough one right there.
There are times where there's generational. I won't say all the time, but it's, a lot of the times the folks who found themselves in those positions came from some tough history. And so
I was a cop for a few years,
very good.
and I worked, and I hated domestic calls.
Yeah.
Those, not only were those the most heartbreaking, they were the most dangerous. At that time, that was the most dangerous call you could go on.
I imagine it was. Yeah.
And seeing the way some of those kids were living, and then having to call protective services and say, I need somebody out here now, and they'd always say, well, we can get somebody out there. And, no, I need somebody now.
Yeah.
I need somebody to come get these kids right now.
We had some of those calls where it would be late at night, and all right, can you guys take a couple of kids? So, okay. And we've had times where we get the call from the hospital, and well, there's been a baby born, and and mama tested positive, and would you take them? And so that was, but that's the journey. That's part of being a foster parent. So we started looking around because we had a front row seat to see the challenges that these young single moms faced. And a lot of times, baby daddy was part of the story too. So we would do what we could to mentor them. But we were focused on the moms. And so we started realizing the solution was not going to be short term. It would be a situation where, nothing against the state, nothing against the amazing people who serve in the system.
The bureaucracy complicates.
Well, there's only so much they can do. You can't take.
And they're all overloaded.
Right, right. And they have hearts of gold and they work above and beyond what is humanly possible. But we saw that the solution to helping these moms to start down a different path in life was truly long term. And so we started looking around, and we would find 30-day programs, max 60-day programs, and then basically
you got to do something else.
Right. And then it would always end with them sending them right back where they came from, which that you can realize that has a lot of challenges baked into that.
Well, and having dealt with people that were alcoholics and drug addicts, and you're not well in 60 days.
No.
Even if you're trying your best.
Right.
You're not there yet.
So we started just talking to friends. We started looking around. We traveled to cities across the state to find programs that we wanted to just investigate and see what worked, see what didn't work. And we realized there was really not a program out there that we thought would be the solution to the problem. And in our humble opinion, we thought it would take a year. So what we did was just put a message out on Facebook and said, hey, we've got this crazy idea. Our vision is to help these young moms and babies to stay together, to heal together, to learn how to be parents, learn, of course, to deal with addiction, PTSD, abuse, all of the things that go with it. And so we started the conversation with a lot of people, and we became a nonprofit 5 years ago in September.
That can be a challenge right there.
We were really fortunate that the original group was just 5 folks, and we had some folks who were attorneys involved with it. And so they were instrumental helping us getting the doors open. We didn't have a building. We didn't have a budget. We didn't have a nickel. We just had an idea and saw the need. So we went through the paperwork of making Lily's House become a nonprofit, and we just put the word out there, and it was amazing the way I feel like God just kind of raised up the right people at the right time. We have a phenomenal board that has many different skill sets that help direct, Lily's House. So, yeah, most folks, when they think of Lily's House, they think of Sarah. She does all the heavy lifting. She's the executive director, and she puts in every day just coordinating and directing and researching and looking for grant opportunities and managing the volunteers and our staff. And she does all of that hard work that never gets noticed. And so
ignore me.
For me, what I do is I basically do what they tell me to do. So I'm the gopher. And so we're hard at it all the time. Lily's House opened its doors spring, so it's coming up on that 5-year mark where we took our first families in. And I believe we're up to 28, 29 moms and 72, 74 kids. So we've had that many folks come through in that window of time.
How many?
We've had 20, I believe it's 28 moms and 74 kids.
That's a bunch.
You know, it's there's a lot of,
And I'm sure there's more waiting.
there always is. You know, we can take 4 families at a time. So there are times we're full with a waiting list. Right now we've got 2 families in there. And so part of the program of Lily's House is there's 4 phases to it. And so what we find is that just when they first get there, you know, really need to focus on themselves, addiction, abuse, what it is, and it is a very limited exposure to anything outside of the shelter.
And if you're wondering what's going on the screen, I had one lady say that it was froze up on her end, so I went in to check it. And don't watch this right here because it'll make you nuts. We got about a 7-second delay.
You're good, Dale. You do what you need to.
But I was just checking to see if it was actually locked up here. I think it's on her end.
Okay, very good.
So there. This is real time.
No, no. You know, the big question we get every time we get an opportunity to go and talk about Lily's House is, how'd you come up with the name? And so our very first set of foster kids that we took in was 2 brothers who were elementary school kids, and then baby. Baby was, 6 months old, I think, and her name was Lily. And so
that was one of my questions, is how did it get to be Lily's House?
Yeah, so when we started thinking about, okay, what's the right name for it, it just was a no-brainer.
I have not been in there since, oh God, it's been over 4 years.
Wow.
You were still
doing the remodel, probably.
You were in the middle of a mess.
Yeah.
And you had people.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
I can't remember what I went there for, but there was a reason. I was either bringing something or coming to ask a question or something.
Yeah. Well, it's not a secret where it is, or it was the old Optimus building that had sat vacant for a few years. And one of our board members is Steve Hubbard. And so,
I'm trying to get him on here.
He's a gem.
Because he's got his hands in so much stuff.
Oh, boy. People, I'm not sure that people know what a gift he is to our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know he's not been feeling great lately, so.
Yeah. He's got a lot of health challenges.
But I want to get him up here.
That'd be good.
And I think I told you when I first talked to you about this, you don't have to come here. If you've got a webcam and a mic at your house, your office, Ryan did it from his office at City Hall because he set up for Zoom meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just brought him on. Yeah. It's just like you're sitting here, only you're not here, you're on there.
Yep. Yep.
And I can do that anywhere in the world. I don't care where you are. I can bring you on here.
Technology is a beautiful thing when it works.
I need a decent internet connection and some electricity.
There you go.
And I had somebody say, well, somebody was here. We won't go into names, but they said, geez, Christ. He said, how much money have you put into this? And I said, we're not going to discuss that because Linda will find out and I'm in trouble. So
yep.
That transmitter is the one on top there with the blue ring.
Uh-huh.
That'll do up to 25 watts of FM transmission.
Nice.
If FCC would be coming in here visiting. I'm pushing right now 5 watts. I cover all of Adrian, all the way up to the RG exit most of the time, out to Double F. South and east are a little trickier. The terrain's a little different. That's all. All I really was wanting to do was cover all of Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that, I got an antenna right up there, and that's the radio station. place. That friend of mine I told you about, he had Casey Kasem's top 100.
Casey Kasem. Yep.
He knew Casey, so
Oh, nice.
1954 to 1974. And I've added a few, but that's over 4,000 songs. I'm on like a 4-day loop with random play. So if you don't like something, give it 3 minutes.
Yeah, you won't hear it again for a while.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm on an active search, semi-active. I don't want to get too pushy with people. I'm desperately looking for somebody that's willing to sit down once a week and record local news. They don't have to be on camera, just voice. And again, like I said, they could come here and do it. They can stay home and do it and just send me the recording. I can show them how to do it on the software I'm using, and they can log in remotely. I'll play it on on YouTube and Facebook and over the air. I'm looking for somebody that do like Adrian News, Butler News, even Archie. We're crossing into that other county there. But give me 5 or 10 minutes of local. If you want to do high school sports, if you want to do the chamber meeting is doing this, if you want to do the Optimist Club's doing this. I did a recording yesterday and played it out, explaining what I'm doing here. I grew up just north of here, and I worked in Kansas City forever. And we moved back down here, and I thought I was retired, and I got bored.
Yeah.
And Adrian's my adopted town. And it was good to me. So I want to give back, and I can now. And this is what I'm trying to do. Organizations like yours, where we can help get the word out. There's 6 people watching right now. But just stuff like that. And like I said, don't worry about the 6. By tomorrow, that number will be a lot bigger.
Not worried about it.
But if I can help get the word out, and I've done a couple of live shows at the Wine Journal. I told Daniel, I said, you came into Redneck Adrian and opened a kind of upscale wine bar. I said, that took a lot of guts. That took some courage.
That has been phenomenal.
It's doing great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I've talked to the bowling alley, but I haven't been back to talk to them. They've been in the middle of remodel, and we had all kinds of stuff going on here. So I need to get back up and talk to them. So I'm trying to, and I've talked to the city, I've talked to Ryan. My thing is that we can work, everybody works together. We can promote all kinds of things. I took you off track.
It's all good. Yeah.
But
No.
I will accept donations.
There you go.
Like I said, this is kind of a hobby. So
Yeah. Kind of a service too. Yeah.
I would like for it to be. And one of the points I tried to make yesterday was this requires involvement of the community. If people don't want to participate, I can't help you,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, that was, with Lily's house, that's what we felt. We just wanted to give back. We wanted a way to give back to the community.
yeah,
And
you're
there
not gonna
was,
make any money doing this.
oh goodness, no, we don't. And that's okay. Of course, we have to pay our staff. We have an amazing team that, God has just led to us. And from the gal who is, coordinates all of our programs, she has spent her career, she just retired as a victims advocate at one of the counties up near the city. And so she has just an unbelievable background in that direction. The lady on our that helps lead all of the group sessions, counseling, therapy, that's really more fine tuned toward that. She's spent 10 years in the DFS system. She's got her own private practice now,
She's seen her own horrors.
and so she's got her master's degree, and so I mean she's a phenomenal resource. We've got so many team members that just are so gifted.
And I know you've got staff on site
24/7.
24/7.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to ask you a stupid question.
No, go ahead.
Out in Arizona, I took my camcorder and showed up some places, and then we did the videos. I don't want to invade the privacy of anybody at all.
Yeah.
But if you would be interested in me coming up and doing a 20-minute walkthrough and have somebody talk, I'd be happy to do that, and I'd put it out on the channel. And
Yeah, we could talk about that further. Like you said, we have to be careful about the ladies who are in the shelter.
yeah,
So make sure that we didn't, invade their privacy. But
but it'd be nice to walk through because I know you've redone your kitchen at least once.
yeah, it's when we got that building, it was, I'm guessing that people know that was the original Optimus building. It was built back in I think 1976.
I know it was a mess when you got it.
It was. There had been some leaks in the roof, and floors were buckled, and they had some teens who had been in there and did some vandalism, and so, like I said, Steve Hubbard, he's on our board. He did a phenomenal job of calling in favors, directing, some construction teams, and we got it up and ready to go.
I put a question on the screen for you.
Are the girls who come to Lily's house coming from abuse or just addiction? Great question. It really goes hand in hand. When we started, we thought that it was going to be focused just on addiction. We found out that you never have one without the other.
Abuse can lead to addiction, and addiction can lead to abuse. It's a one-lane, two-way street.
Right. I mean, you've worked with folks in those situations, and it's one leads to it. It's the old, not to make light of it, but the proverbial chicken or the egg. They typically go hand in hand, and so are the girls. Okay. I didn't know. Does Lily's house have a thrift store? Yes, we do. So on
We're
Main
actually
Street,
getting questions.
yeah, thank you. On Main Street, you'll see a thrift store just up from the Wine Journal, and it's called the Lily Pad. And so we were really fortunate when we were just starting our organization. Of course, you got to pay the bills, and we thought, okay, how can we do that? We want it to, sustain itself, and so Diane Ferguson is just unbelievable lady, so many gifts, and we very grateful to Seth and Tara Black. They owned that storefront there at the time, and they said, hey, we want to do our part to help get you guys up and running, so we will rent it to you for $0 for a year to help you guys get it going.
That's a Main Street Mafia.
Main Street Mafia. I'm not familiar
You're
with
not
that.
familiar with that?
No. So, yeah, that's.
My business I rented from the Mafia.
Oh, okay.
When I was up there. It was Hubbard, Don Arndt, crazy insurance guy,
Yeah, they're kind of shady over there, aren't they?
plumbing, that whole bunch.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
And back then we called them the Main Street Mafia.
Very good.
Here's one, you're going to like this question.
Okay. How do people make donations? Great question. The best way to do that is we go to our website. So it's really easy, lilieshouse.org. So
Let's say it again.
Yeah.
lilieshouse.org.
So if you go to Google search and type in Lily's house, it's going to pull that up first.
Yeah.
And when you go on there, and Dale, we do, fundraisers. That's one of the ways that the thrift store brings in about a third of the revenue that we need to operate.
It's never enough.
Yeah. So we're doing fundraisers because there are times where we have gotten grants, and those are awesome, but those are not reliable.
Got Peggy Burr watching.
So what we do is we're always doing different fundraisers. One of the fundraisers we're doing right now for all of you Chiefs fans out there is we have a autographed Patrick Mahomes jersey. And if folks go to our website, lilieshouse.org, you'll see right on there how you can go on and buy a raffle ticket. It's $5 for a ticket, or $20 will get you a free ticket, get you 5 tickets. So we're going to raffle that off Super Bowl Sunday at 2:00. So if the winner is local, I'll bring it to you, and you can have an autographed, authentic Mahomes jersey for Super Bowl. And of course, our boys will be winning it.
There, Rebecca, did you catch that? You could get a Mahomes jersey.
Yeah. And back to her question.
She's in Kansas City, Kansas.
Oh, okay. Is how you can make donations. When you go on there, we are linked to PayPal, and you can just do a one-time donation. You can set it up as a reoccurring monthly donation, and whatever you want. We have one sweet little lady. I'm still not sure how she found out about us. She's up in Iowa, and she sends us a check every month for $10. And how she found out about us, I don't know. But that's just been the
One of Rebecca's was, do you have a mailing address where she could just send you a check?
Oh, sure. What we do, rather than a P.O. box, because I think I saw something about that,
Yeah.
we take all of the mail for all of the residents at our home. So our home address, is 104 North Kentucky. Let you type that in. So it's 104 North Kentucky. Good old Adrian, Missouri. And our zip code down here is 64720.
You notice I can do banners and stuff. I've got your name scrolling across the screen.
There you go. And if people, please put the word out. Please bring donations to to the Lily Pad. We take many, many things. Clothing and kids' items usually sell best. But we take a lot of different stuff. Home furniture.
I'm going to sneak in a promo for both of us.
Okay.
If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube and you want to get the word out about Lily's House and QRAZ, share it. Share it out to your friends. Share it to your page. That plugs both of us.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Share it to Lily's House's page.
Yeah. One of the other things that we're doing right now, Dale, is up on when they go to our website, they'll see about our 5K fun run walk. So that's going to be on St. Patrick's Day.
5K.
Yeah.
That's almost 3 miles.
It's a hair over 3 miles, 3.1.
I'm not walking.
Strong emphasis on the walk. I'll be walking.
When is that?
So that's on St. Patrick's Day. So I think that's the 19th.
Might be warm enough I could actually bring the motorcycle and run escort with it or something.
There you go, buddy. Come on. Yeah.
And I've had motorcycles for a long time, but they've all been the old standard clutch gear shift.
Uh-huh.
And people would say, when I got into trikes, they'd say, "Oh, you need to be in this parade." Did you ever try to ride one of these that's going 3 miles an hour? Your left hand feels like it's going to fall off.
Yeah.
This one's an automatic.
Hey, there you go.
I don't have to squeeze the clutch every 2 seconds. So
yeah, but with
I could do things like that now.
Yeah, if folks want to come and be part of last year was the first year we did it, and just it was phenomenal. We had about 80 folks come. Have a lot of corporate support for it.
Where do you do this?
It's going to be over at the park at Adrian Park. Yeah,
And what's that?
that's a
2 times around
Saturday.
the park, or
You know, they've got a route figured out. I'm not sure exactly what
they're
it
not
all is.
including you in this?
No, you know, we have a phenomenal team, and it just that's one of the things that we love. We're 5 years into it, and our team is very self-reliant. So there's 2 ladies, Mary Ellen Sears and Tammy, wonderful lady from Butler. Tammy comes up, helps work at the store, helps coordinate health and fitness for all of our gals. Our gals will take over 30 classes while they're at Lily's house.
And now, what do you need at Lily's house?
You know, that's a great question.
Well, I know they're doing classes. They're probably picking up a skill set. When I was in the city, I worked with one over in Blue Springs. I was still in business then, so I always had computers sitting around. And the lady that ran it, I went over to do some help for her, and ended up, when I got there and found out what I was doing, I donated the work. And she said, "Can we get an old computer?" And I said, "What do you need?" Because back then, since I was working on them and stuff, I always had older computers sitting around, not the latest and greatest, but she was teaching these gals to keyboard, to use Word, to use Excel, to use QuickBooks. And they had classes they were a little bigger operation than you are, but they was still the small field, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They probably had 3-4 times as people that you had,
Yeah.
but she hit me up. They needed computers because they only had like 2 or 3, and they said trying to teach a class for 7-8 people at one time with 3 computers. So I said, let me go check,
Yeah.
and started making good ones out of bad ones and stuff. My biggest problem was coming up with monitors.
Mm-hmm.
And I loaded up one day and took her 10 computers. 10 computers, keyboards, and mice. I only took her 4 old monitors, and they were old monitors.
Yeah.
But she was just thrilled
It was, yeah. That opens up a lot of learning opportunities.
because I don't care which version of Word, or if you're using Open Office or what, it's all the same. Open Office, Word, Free Office, they all use the same formatting, same commands, and so you don't have to buy Microsoft Office.
Mm-hmm.
You can use one of those others, and it uses everything's the same. You know, your copy, your paste, your formatting, it's all done exactly the same. You know, Office stole it from WordStar, so you know, back in the DOS days. And she was able to sit down and teach those gals basic word processing, basic Excel, a few things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's things like that. Do you need things like anything like that? I don't have it right now, but maybe we can find it.
Yeah. You know, let me get back to you on that,
Yeah.
because Sarah's much better at answering that question than I would be.
I was hoping she'd come with you.
Yeah, me too.
I had a plan to figure out how to do this so I could have both of you on camera with mics and stuff.
You know, it's kind of interesting. You know, there's extroverts and introverts, and Sarah is the ultimate introvert. She does not like. She loves to work, and she's a force. But she doesn't like to be up on the stage. She doesn't like to be in front of people talking.
This is just you and me talking.
Yeah. So that's why.
Don't worry about those people.
Yeah, if we're ever out there and you hear me talking, it's simply because Sarah doesn't want to. But to answer your question a couple of different ways, one of the things that we stay committed to at Lily's House is teaching our ladies to give back to the community. And so if you drive up First Street in Adrian, you'll notice there's a community garden. And that was this last year's effort. So Sarah and I had bought a little house that we're still renovating. Inside's about done. Outside will be next year's project. But we bought the empty lot right next door to it. And with the vision of making that Lily's House community garden.
You know,
So our ladies, talking about the things that they do in the classes that they take, gardening, healthy eating, those type of things is part of it. So now we've got a community garden,
I think that's great.
and it's all because of the ladies at Lily's House.
Before I retired and stuff, we lived on 5 acres outside of town, and I had 2.5 acres, and all I was doing was mowing it. Yeah, we were putting hay up off and stuff, and I'd get people saying, "Boy, I wish I had a garden spot. I wish I could do this, and I wish I could do that." And I said, "I'll set aside an acre, good, rich Missouri black soil, if you want to put in a garden." I said, "It's right there. I'm 3/4 of a mile off the blacktop. And as long as I know you, you can come and go and tend your garden anytime you want to.
Yep.
Not one taker."
You know, it was interesting. We this was our first year doing it, and so we've learned a lot. You know, our community is phenomenal. We are so blessed with the corporate support that we've gotten for Lily's House, and that community garden is one example of that. We had more companies than we had garden spots who said, "Hey, I'm happy to be a sponsor for Lily's House Community Garden." We have now put in an orchard there as well. So we got the first 12 trees in there.
Cool.
This spring, we're going to put in a memorial garden because we have folks, when a family member would pass away, they'll make a contribution to Lily's House. And we wanted to honor that. So this year we'll be working on a section of it where there will be rose bushes and lilacs and all kinds of things that were meaningful to that family, and put a little a bench out there.
Yep.
So we want to just truly make it a reflection of the good things that God's doing at Lily's House and our community as well.
Well, while we're talking about that stuff, I'm going to tell you, I'm retired. I'm on fixed income. I got no money. But if there's another way I can help,
Yeah.
you know, something like this, if you wanted to,
This is a huge help, just getting the word out.
yeah. And if you guys wanted to do a regular show once a month, once a week, whatever, we can work it out.
You know, we can talk to one of the things that blesses me the most, Dale, is when we get a chance to get our ladies sharing their stories.
We could bring, if they were willing to get on the camera,
Uh-huh.
they could come here. I could, if you had decent internet, I could go there.
Yeah. The gal, you know, and I won't steal all of her thunder, but one of our greatest joys is when they graduate and they just do phenomenal. And we love it. We're proud of it that there are several of our graduates who are now on our staff.
That's
and
great.
one who's actually one of our board members. And, you know, to know her story, to go from she came to us after spending the last 5+ years in jail. And she just got to a point where she said, there's got to be more to life.
Yeah.
And somehow,
So many times when they end up in jail, bad decisions, circumstance, and they get out and they've been in jail for bad decisions. And it's so hard for them to get reestablished. They need that somebody willing to put out a hand
yeah.
and just say, come over here. Let me help you with this, you know?
One of the things that we've been thrilled with is that through the efforts of the whole team, you know, working together to help these ladies, they just surround them with love, make them part of the family. And sometimes it's tough love. And, you
Sometimes
know,
that's necessary.
we have built a tremendous relationship with DFS, um, and then with the judicial system. So some of our ladies more recently that have come to us actually come to us on what they call a diversion, where a judge will, make the decision and say, "Hey, we've heard about Lily's house. We've heard good things are happening over there." Rather than putting this lady in jail for the next 5 years,
Here's your choice.
here's what we'll do is we'll let you go to Lily's house and in lieu of going and just sitting in jail. And of course, that gives them the opportunity to rebuild their lives. They get much more time when it's appropriate to rebuild those relationships with their kids and to help heal that and rebuild those bridges. It gives them a chance to prove themselves.
When I was a kid, we're talking 18, 19 years old kid. The courts had another option back then. They don't have it now. But I had a cousin that made more than one bad decision. The judge gave him two options. He could take 10 years in jail, or he could do 4 years in the Navy. He went in the Navy, made a career, got education in IT and networking, did his 20 years. He got out. He now worked for one of the big mobile companies in their way up in their IT department.
That's fantastic.
And those were an option you had back then. A lot of times they would say, "You want to go to jail? You want to go to the Army? You want to go to jail?"
Good motivation. And that's, for the ladies who come on a diversion, it's a win-win because we're not going to make anybody stay in the program.
What do you want?
So if there's one of the ladies, and it happens not often, but it happens from time to time, where they'll say, "This isn't for me," because it's a very stringent program. Ours is a smoke-free and substance-free facility. But if they make the decision that, "Hey, you know what? I'd rather go to jail than stay here in the program,"
That's still smoke-free and substance-free.
it's not my decision to make. But we have had a few of those happen. But it's a great motivation.
Yeah.
And so that's
They don't expect much out of you in jail, though.
and ours is it's pretty it's go, and it's 24-hour supervision. It sounds almost crazy in today's culture, but they're not going to have a cell phone for at least 6 months.
I think, if you had one of those ladies that has graduated out and wanted to come talk about her story,
Yeah, we could work on that.
that would be wonderful. And
Yeah.
we'd plug it,
Yeah.
and you could share the link to Lily's house so people could see it, and I think that would help you get the word out and communicate what you're really doing.
Yeah, the why behind it.
Not your side, but their side.
It's so there's 4 phases to our program. By the time they get to phase 3, they are usually about 6 months in, and part of phase 3 is you are now getting a job, dealing with all of the legal issues, hopefully are behind you, job skill development, those type of things, and working to get back and establish yourself and be a contributing part of the community. We make them buy their own vehicle, because then when they come to us, they don't have anything. They basically have whatever they have in a bag.
And it's small bag at that.
It is, and we start from there. And so we've even had well-meaning family members who will say, well, I'll buy a car for them. No, you won't, because we've worked with them in budgeting and finance to help learn how to manage their money, save their money, and they're going to buy it on their own.
It's a little scary how many adults don't know how to balance their checkbook.
That's true.
It That's one of those skills that should be taught in school. I think.
Yeah.
I think we, and when I went to school, they had basic bookkeeping, which is essentially, once you took that class, you could balance your checkbook because that's where they started you. Then you could do small business bookkeeping. Wouldn't call it accounting, You know? But, and of course, we had VOTEC and we had all kinds of, welding, wood, agriculture, all taught at the high school level. You didn't have to go to college, especially in a farm community. A lot of those guys were never going to college, but they got out of high school with 4 years of welding. Some of them were pretty darn good. Or they did 4 years of woodwork, or the farm kids, a lot of them were in the ag visit program. They knew how to judge a cow and look at a horse and check a sheep and taste milk and tell what the cow had been eating.
Oh my gosh. And in farming, golly, nowadays it's all about micronutrients and enzymes and biologicals, and there's just so much science and chemistry to go with it.
When I was a kid, we milked a little over 100 head. That was a big dairy then. Now, it's a 24/7 operation. And I've looked at some of the stuff that De La Val's doing now, and the merry-go-rounds the cows get on, and they got one guy that's sitting in a computer room, and he knows how much milk the cow gave. The machine gave the cow a shot. The machine washed up the udder and sterilized her, and then by the time she gets on here and then goes around there and gets off, she's been milked, she's been vaccinated, she's been tagged,
Yeah, it's amazing.
And they know exactly how much milk she gave and how much feed she ate. And not the world I grew up in.
Nope.
I grew up with a pitchfork and a shovel. So
There you go. Dale, earlier you were asking about what the future of Lily's House
Yes.
is. And from our very first inception, we've always had one of our goals is to not just be a ministry to the ladies who are in the shelter, but also to families in crisis in our community to help them as well. Because, there's a very limited niche of the people that we can help in the shelter. It's single moms with kids who are basically under the age of about 8, who are coming out of a life of addiction and abuse. But we want to do so much more than that. So that's why the community garden. And one of the huge steps we took just recently, took a huge step of faith, is there's literally just around the corner from where we're sitting on 6th Street, there's an old house there, built in 1914, but it sets on...
At one time, that was a gorgeous old house.
I bet it was. But it sets on 6 of the lots, 6 city lots. And so we purchased that a few months ago. And our vision for that is to build a community resource center. And also, one of the bigger challenges for ladies when they graduate from the program, because honestly, most of them have felonies on their records. And if you've ever tried to get housing, when you have a felony on your record, it just doesn't happen. And had it not been for some of the great business leaders around here who have given our ladies a chance, and they've hired them, they've helped them find housing, and it's phenomenal how they flourish when they're surrounded by that network, that family. So we're going to use that land as put some duplexes up there, so to have transitional housing available when our folks graduate from the program.
I've seen some really nice setups involving tiny homes, 400 square feet. Now that's typically a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
And in Arizona, you see, they call them park models. They're like a 40-foot single wide, only they're not. They're not 400 square feet. Arizona, that works because it don't get that cold, because these things are not that well insulated. I mean, we're talking,
It's not gonna work here. Yeah.
yeah, it they they're hard enough to air conditioning. Heating them is a joke. That's,
Yeah. Non-existent.
But
yeah.
the nice thing about a tiny home, if you can, I think that goes up to 500 square feet. That gives you an actual room for a bedroom, a bathroom, laundry area, kitchen, and a dine-in kitchen and a living room.
Yeah.
And they can be built to the same specs as any house. You know, you can have 6 inches of insulation in there. But again, that would be actually, I've seen a lot of places go into that, and it's a great transition home because you can live in that until you can buy a house.
Yeah. And being a city alderman, one of the things that, we want to make sure that we're staying with city code.
Yeah.
But we're, at this point, we're exploring our options. We're trying to raise the money to pay off that property so that we can start down that next phase. One of the things that it's been a huge blessing. It's been a project for 3 years now. And if there are any folks out there who are business owners, this would be targeted toward them specifically, is there's a program in the state of Missouri called NAP tax credits. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I have.
Neighborhood Assistance Program is what NAP stands for. And we wrote a grant right before COVID, great timing, which we were awarded that grant. So they didn't give us any money, but what they gave us was the ability to sell tax credits. So the way that works, just to make the math easy, so if there's a company out there that says, hey, I want to buy, $1,000 worth of tax credits, what will happen is they will get a voucher back from the state. Since Bates County is a needy county, they'll get a $700 voucher from the state that they can use in lieu of paying their state taxes anytime over the next 5 years. And in addition, they get to use that, the other amount, that whatever they don't use on the Missouri, they can use as a federal tax write-off, since we're a 501c3.
So if they wanted to take 500 off of Missouri and another 200 off of federal.
Right. They could do whatever they wanted to. So we have been really fortunate that we were awarded $271,000 worth of them. And we have sold all but about $4,000 worth.
See, that's great.
So we've got a little bit more to go. And so if there's anybody out there that would want to buy some NAP tax credits,
Are you guys listening?
help us out.
Now listen, if you guys got questions, don't be shy. Put them up on that comment so I can show it to Jeff, and he can hopefully answer it.
Donations to the lily pad are always phenomenal.
Now, where you are now is great, but it's limited space.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it sounds like you're hoping to expand a little.
We are.
So,
And, we always walk by faith, and we try our best not to get, ahead of ourselves. We feel like we've created a model when and if resources are ever available, and God wants to raise up a great leadership team somewhere else in the state, that we could duplicate this model. I can't even tell you the unbelievable effort that our team that created the program has put in over the last 5 years to come up with all of this coursework. We haven't made it all ourselves. When we started it, we said, we don't want to recreate the wheel. We want to partner with other great organizations out there. We want to find great resources.
And the nice thing about that is you can look at one and say, oh, look what they're doing on this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take that And you look at another one and say, now they're doing this.
Shamelessly steal. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Steal everything you can.
And that's really our program. That's what we've just, what it is today is similar to what it was 5 years ago, but we've made a lot of strategic changes as we've gone.
Well, to make it right, you steal it and then modify it.
Yeah. Yeah. Personalize it. Yeah. You know, it's really,
That's one of the rule on anything that's molded. If I change it enough that my product won't fit in your mold, it's not your product anymore.
can't put a patent on it. Yeah.
So
You know, it's really interesting with our ladies. You know, it's the ladies who are our staff, who are in the trenches every day. They are second to none. You know, it's hard work.
it's a tough job. It is.
It really is. I'm not cut out for it, but they are in there day in and day out, 24/7. You know, I'll tell just a little bit of one of the story. You know, our gal that I mentioned that she's on our board now. She's also our staffer. So we have it there in the building. We have an efficiency apartment that she came to us from jail, and she was pregnant, and so her son was born not there in Lily's house, but while she was in Lily's house.
You are prepared for that to actually happen, right?
We have nurses, we have RNs, and folks that can take care of that. My stepdaughter is a nurse practitioner, and so she's our medical consultant on all things. So she went from the program, and she became our in-house staffer. So she lives there. She's our night staffer, and now she is one of our full-time staff, who is now one of our board members. And she is, you know, Dale, let's be honest, old guys like you and me, when you've got some lady, young gal coming into the program, they're not going to listen to us, but they definitely will listen to Ashley because she's been in that path.
And she's been there. And if she needs to do the tough love thing, they know that she's telling them how it is and was.
Yeah.
And I've not been there.
We can mean well, but there are limits.
We can empathize and sympathize, but we can't truly relate to what's going on.
Street cred goes a long way with this crew.
Seeing it from the outside's not the same as experiencing it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
now, where are you going to be this time next year?
You know, hopefully by this time next year, we will have paid off the property, and we'll be digging holes in the ground and working on a resource center and working on, you know, some transitional housing on our new property. Just a few huge blessings, and some of the challenges that we're going through right now is, you know, that building, the shelter, needed a lot of work. So the Lions Club here in Adrian, oh my gosh, they were phenomenal. They made a huge contribution, $15,000, to help us rebuild our kitchen, because it was the original kitchen.
And I saw that kitchen. It
built the building.
It was okay.
It was in sad state. We were blessed that
It was better than not having one.
yeah. When we we're thinking about opening Merwin Christian Church. That one of the examples, they bought us new stove, new refrigerator, new freezer. So at least we had that. But it was time for an upgrade. So between that and some other contributions from some other, now we have a spectacular new kitchen. Our HVAC system, there again, it was the old original one, or close to.
And it had been there a while.
Yeah, so we were, just to get the doors open, we were able to do some replacement, but through some grants that have just come available, we are now able to, just got a bid yesterday, we're going to be able to finish the HVAC system out, which is in desperate need. When it gets really cold, it's really not best in class. So we've got that going on right now. We're trying to raise $30,000 because we desperately need a new roof. You know, that's the original metal roof, and it's seen its days. We've had it coated and repaired to the nth degree, but it's time for
You
some
can
new
only
gutters and a roof.
You can only put so many layers of coating on those,
Yeah.
and then you're losing the battle.
So, those are big ticket items. You're looking at $30,000 for a roof. So,
and that's next year
yeah, that money
or
doesn't grow on
late this
trees.
year or whatever.
Yeah.
5 years from now, what's your vision?
What we'd like to do is, if it's in God's plans, is be at a point where we can take this model and duplicate it somewhere else. And we can help a team go, you know what, this works. And there's a lot of needs all around the state, as much as there is here. And if we can be that.
Missouri's got a lot of rural counties.
They do.
And it's rural counties don't have any money.
Typically pretty needy, yes. Yeah.
And I love Bates County. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a money county.
Well, talking about the resource center, that was one of our aha moments. Was we found in doing some research, I found out that well over 90% of the people who are ever what they call hotlined into DFS, they're referred in because their family is in crisis, never get any help. And a big part of that reason is because what the help they need is not available locally. It might be available in Clinton, or it might be available up in the city, or if somebody
you
ends
got to
up
drive 45 minutes or an
exactly,
hour.
they probably don't have transportation. How are they going to get the resources?
That's yeah.
So for Sarah and I, everybody, we feel like God put us here on the earth for a purpose. For Sarah and I, we feel pretty confident helping Adrian. Whatever we can do to build this organization will help solve some of the challenges we have here in our community. That's our calling. We just want people to figure out what theirs are.
I always tease Hubbard that he's older than dirt, and I'm not that far behind him. And as many stupid things I've done in my life, there's a lot of times I shouldn't be here. Some of them my fault, some of them outside my control.
Yeah.
So I figure I'm still here for a reason. I still got something to do.
Preach it, brother.
And after I I retired because my wife had cancer and it was terminal. And I became caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
And then after she passed away, I thought, I'm going to be bored out of my mind. Because I'd been working for 30 years, 6 days a week, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. I wasn't bored. I didn't get bored until 2 years ago. And that's when this started.
Very good.
And I thought, I need to do something. And it's going to be something I've never done before. Because I'm not going back into working on computers. I had soured on that.
That'll wear on you, won't it?
People will wear on you.
Yeah.
And computers aren't the same. When I first started, you actually had to work on the computer. Now you plug in something and it says, oh, look, there's a new video card. And back then, it was a couple of hours making a video card work.
Mm-hmm.
You had dip switches and jumpers, and So this is what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to make this something to give back with.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just like Lily's house. We can't do it by ourselves. We have to have participation from the community.
Yep.
Now, we've been a little over an hour. We're running into that short attention span thing. But I'm going to extend an open invitation. If you ever want to come back, or if you've got one of your people that you would like to come on, we'll do that.
Oh, that'd be great.
So I'm going to start winding it up here.
Yeah.
Folks, if you like this, all the information's there. If you come in at the tail end, go back and watch it from the beginning. There's an address on how to send stuff to Lily's house. It's 104 North Kentucky, Adrian, Missouri, 64720. You can go to Lily's pad. If you've got something you think will help, fix them up. Donations. I'm sure they love donations.
Absolutely.
You can send money. Go to the lilieshouse.org, make a donation there.
Buy your raffle tickets.
And buy your raffle tickets. If you think the information tonight was worth it, share this video. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Share it out to your friends. Let them watch it. We're trying to get information out. Now, we've gone a little over an hour, and I know it's a short short attention span. So we're going to wind it up. This is QRAZ Radio, 102.7 FM, and the video portion's going off, and the radio station is going back to nonstop oldies. You all have a good night. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves.